Hello, everybody. I'm More Gravity. Let's play chess. Regular fans will notice. Uh, sh- Regular fans will notice. Shave and a haircut. 2 bits. Shave and a haircut. 2 bits. Yeah, I'm gonna trim the shave all the way to my skin. Probably tomorrow to let things sort of settle. And my hair is at, you know, I just messed it up, but my hair's at a much shorter length. I was thinking, I'm just saving way too much money by switching to Geico. So I got to get rid of this hair. Anyway, um, yeah, I went for my first time at a new hair salon, and if you see my other videos, some like farther down in the video section, my hair was longer than my shoulders, and my beard was getting getting there too. But I have a I still have hair, so that's also good. uh, all right, so let's play chess. All right. I'll rematch if he's sure they offer. Um, I'm not gonna offer a rematch. Okay, we're good. Now let's check this game out. We'll review this most recent game, and maybe one of these other two games I got. I feel like I kind of got my butt kicked. No, this one wasn't. This one was close. And what happened here? Yeah, pretty much just was very soundly destroyed in this game here. So we'll take a look at these other two games. So I lost this game. This is not accurate. I'm not sure if we want to go over this game. Let's see if we find anything interesting. So I played a good amount of queenside space. Material seems to be even for a while. I'm gonna drop this. I'll drop a few pawns. It looks like queen d. Material's even. It's a dynamic way for material to be even. Opponent has a rook, a pawn, and a bishop from the queen. This is the game I won just a second ago. Yeah, I don't know if we really want to go over this game that much easier, that much either. Excuse me. The black builds up a positional advantage. There's black has a pawn extra, and maybe a small amount of positional advantage. And after bishop to g4, some trading pieces. My opponent found a few only good moves. Like here, knight takes f3. Definitely. Well, you could even say it's semi-forced. There's g takes f3, but why bother setting the clock? Some would say, not quite that bad, but g takes f3 just probably not all that good of a move, as bishop to h3 is really powerful and strong. There's even threats of queen g5 followed by mate on g2, depending on how quickly white can get his knight off of the c1 to h6 diagonal. So instead, of course, knight takes f3. Just inaccurate play, I guess. Wow. I'm not all that happy to see that my opponent and I couldn't find more accurate moves. And to make that a sure thing, queen d5 check blunders the whole queen. And I will finish this up against computer. Maybe not even. Well, I'll do this quickly. Let's do this quickly then. Okay, so could finish this up against computer. almost almost overly strong of a. This is an interesting sacrifice. Rook takes h3. Right? I have an extra pawn and the only long range piece. I can scurry to the pawn in the center in plenty of time. Hmm. So what was 61.76 versus 69? We want to see how much did adding quite a few moves on practice, good moves on practice, good, great, best moves on practice. Move 18. Okay. This one at 16. This one at 10. 10 and 16. It was from 18 moves to 62. So there's a lot of added moves. It's that 44 added moves. Any of the added moves, I don't think any of the added moves were all that spectacular. All right. So we looked over these games. Not sure. I'll play till next one. Woo! Alright. I don't do that in a tournament. I probably shouldn't do it on hand, but it's not all that bad either. And this game was wild, and as a result, not all that accurate. Most wild games are inaccurate here, of course, exceptions. But this game, let's go through this sort of medium level of analysis. Bishop c5 here is just kind of allow black's bishop to be kicked with pawn to d4. The bishop repositions itself, and he is in a good spot. This is a good place for this bishop. And white is way ahead in development. It's white's turn to move, and that bishop has a great spot, but I think white is enough ahead in development here to sway things towards his victory, towards white's victory, towards my victory. Pawn to d6 is fine. You might consider pawn to d5, and if e takes d5, then yes, then white has a temporary material advantage. But then queen takes d5, or just look at the fact that the e file is so open so early. I would consider here with black to move. I would consider pawn to d5. So d6 instead. Bishop c4. Straightforward development. Just total. I call this being a center hog. I hope that's not derogatory. In my opinion, it just means you hog the center, like a ball hog hogs the ball. Like a ball hog hogs the ball. Here, white is really hogging the center. Bishop g4 is a good move. I think this move is underrated here by the check mark, because this slows everything down for white. This is a pin that might not be the last thing or telltale all-winning pin, but the knight is now slowed, and even to some extent the queen is slowed. If you capture on f3 and my queen has already sort of taken herself to another point on the chessboard with different aims, with other aims, then I have to capture with my g3 pawn, and these squares around the king are very exposed. I really like my opponent's move here, bishop to g4. I said, well, if I'm going to have a bare king, so put the question to the bishop, and captures I don't like captures here for black, because now look at just how much more developed. With two central pawns, both bishops and my queen are all developed to this one, against this one bishop on b6. White will attack, and white should attack, and he will. Some forcing or semi-forcing moves. I thought queen c6 was another good move. My opponent made this move, queen c6, and I decided I can lose this bishop and still maintain. And the torch is going nuts. Why the bishop? You should have sacrificed it on f7 first, he's saying, or maybe make this battery, and then the queen will be forced to, exchange itself for your queen, and then the knight can... Okay, okay, but in a practical way, sometimes we try things. And I'm also eyeing queen takes b7, and then queen takes a8. And to give more credit again back to Torch, queen takes a8 isn't going to happen. I calculated poorly here. It was bad calculation. Queen takes a8? No. Queen takes b7? Sure. But then queen to c6 I thought was fine, and Torch finds another issue with this. But here, knight to e7. That's surprising. This is something strange. This line here from Torch is I'm gonna say it's kind of like a no. Okay, so after queen takes a8, then knight to c6, and the knights covering each other's, having each other's back here, covering each other and defending each other symbiotically. It's a good word. They might be strong that way. I'm just not. I don't know how. I'm not sure this is enough for black to have as much as a pawn and a half to the better. I'm looking at the material side of things and thinking, white's still up a rook. Maybe it might be more difficult for white to escape than I had anticipated. This position would require this position would require lengthy study to see if knight to c3 was really as warranted as all this aftermath seems to think. So we'll go back to the main line. And yeah, queen c6 seems to diffuse the situation, right? Either I trade queens or I lose it on the rook, lose it on the knight, lose it on... there's a lot of ways my queen might be able to not get out of this. But from white's perspective, there's only one good move, and that's queen c8 check. Found it, so I feel good about that. Castle's queen side was the right move. We're putting a lot of pressure on a king that is now wandering. Remember I was saying about development? But now black's still behind in development, and black's king is wandering around. And I saw in the game that was played knight to a6, and I'm thinking, counterattack! Run away! Run away! And that's what I did. With more time, you're surprised. If I was surprised by the move knight to a6 here, in tournament play, I probably, I wasn't going to capture on a6, because then, of course, bishop e3 check. Bishop takes e3, and queen takes queen, and I'm down a huge amount of material. So not to capture on a6 is part of the idea. But how did I resolve this? I didn't. I gave away the lead with the miss queen to g4. Better Zwischenzugs to make here, like bishop to g5, as I see Torch suggests. Seems strong. What's guarding this pawn doing for anybody? Not much. So get this pawn in action maybe with bishop to g5. A move like pawn to f6 could put this pawn in action, trade it off for some material, and now the e file is open to attack black's king at e7. That's part of the game. Once again, not accurate. I'm not going to go into too much detail about these inaccurate moves. We'll be here for a long time. A long stretch of inaccurate moves there. Things start to get hairy here for well, scary. Some you could say hairy. It's less often used, but um, things start to get scary here for black, and I think they remain that way until queen to b4 is an excellent move. The only good move, and alright, it was an excellent move, and I'm gonna checkmate either on e7 or after black blocks with his queen. Queen takes c6, checkmate. I don't know. It was a wild game. I enjoyed it. I was down to the nitty gritty in terms of time. You know, I always take more time than my I almost always take more time than my opponents. So I don't know whether I probably should say thanks. I that's how I play chess. I don't know. You know, I'm working on it. Look at me, but you know, I'm working on it. I'm working on it. All right. Fun game. Any other games to go over, Joy? I think we reviewed this game already. Alright, so thank you so much for watching. I'm More Gravity. Have a great night.